Okay, we start with a wet tea towel and we spread it out like that and put a chopping board on top. Press down, make sure it's nice and secure. And this first ingredient is a red onion, which we're going to cut in half through the root, so just like that. The reason we're doing that is because we're going to dice the onion and the root will help us hold it together. So we're going to just peel it. So that just involves literally pulling off the peel. Again, leaving the root intact as much as possible. Just have a quick clean up of the work area. And then next we're going to chop the top off the onion and keep the root in place still. And then we're going to turn the onion and cut some lines in it, ready for dicing. Nice and careful like this, keep the blade away from your fingers. And if you notice how I'm holding the onion, it's a great way of doing it. And just go nice and steady, let the knife do the cutting, don't press down hard, that's when things go wrong. And if you notice, just like that, it makes it so it's nice and safe. Chop the little bits up and that's the onion done, simple as that. Next it's garlic. Now this is quite a solid lump of garlic, so you give it a quick twist, see if that helps. In this case it didn't, so press on it hard like that. That will hopefully release some of the cloves from the bulb, and it's a clove that we're after in this case, so I'll just pull one out. There we go. And I'm going to take the skin off that. An easy way to do that is to get a knife, lay it flat on it, watch your fingers on the edge of the knife though, and just press down on the blade. That will break the skin, so it just falls off. Nice and simple. And then we're going to chop that garlic up, ready for use. Again, fingers well out of the way of the blade. And I'm using the front of my fingers as a guide for the knife, so that I can't possibly cut myself. Just be careful. Right, a pepper. Now we're going to chop this in half. The normal way to chop it in half is just to chop it straight down the middle, just like that, but we're not going to do that. We're going to just chop the edge off like this, turn it, chop the edge off again. That gives us roughly half a pepper. It saves us doing a lot of de-seeding and stuff like that, so we just get rid of the seeds that are here and the bit of flesh that's in that. Then one piece at a time we're going to cut it up and then into small pieces. There we go, oh, nice and firmly, just press down and then slice into pieces, keeping your fingers away from the sharp bit of the blade. The key to being safe is to do it nice and slowly. And don't press down hard. If you press down hard, that's when things tend to go wrong. What we're aiming for is just nice clean cuts. A sharp knife cuts nice and clean. Now this is a parsnip. We're going to cut some root vegetables, and I've chosen to use a parsnip as one of them. So it needs peeling first, just using an easy peeler like this, just like peeling a carrot. Then we're going to chop the top off and the tail off. Get rid of the trimmings, and then we're going to chop it up into some nice sized pieces, just like this. And what we're aiming for is at the end for all the pieces to be of a similar size. The root vegetables cook at roughly the same pace, so the other veg that we cut up wants to be a similar sort of size. So just like that. Any larger pieces, just chop them again. And then pop them in a bowl. Next it's a carrot. Just like doing the parsnip again. Exactly the same technique. Peel it with a speed peeler and then chop it up. So ends off. Cut it into large batons. And then just slice with a knife, keeping your fingers well away from the blade. We'll put that lot in a bowl ready for later. Now this is a sweet potato. Again, speed peeler. Now sometimes sweet potatoes can be a little bit gnarly, so just take it nice and steady with it. And we're going to chop the ends off just like we did with the carrot and the parsnip, so don't worry too much about the ends. Sometimes sweet potatoes can be quite hard in the middle, so you get like a softer edge and a harder middle. This one wasn't too bad, but as you can see, it just chops up nicely with a sharp knife. And I'm not pressing down particularly hard. Like I say, that's when things go wrong. Things shoot out and move and stuff like that, and we don't want that. So again, chopping up, same sort of size as the carrot and the parsnip. That's all the vegetables chopped, so give them a wash under cold running water apart from the garlic, and then put 2 pans on the hob. Water in one pan, oil in the other. As they warm up, the water will begin to steam and the oil will thin and move around in the pan, as you can see there. Once the oil's hot enough, add some peppers, then some onions, and we'll cook it for about 5 minutes before adding the garlic. The water in the other pan has some salt in it, that's for cooking the rice. The rice takes between 20 and 25 minutes once the water's boiling. Now, I've cut this video down so that instead of taking sort of 35 minutes altogether, it takes us about 5 to get through. So we're about 5 minutes into the cooking process here when we add the garlic, and the water is now boiling in the other pan, so it's ready for the rice. So rinse the rice off in a sieve under cold running water, and then add it to the pan of boiling water, just like this. And the water isn't boiling anymore, so leave the heat up nice and high until it does get boiling again, and then knock the heat right down just so it's a simmer. Keep the heat at medium in the pan for the chilli, and we're going to add the root vegetables now. We're about 8 minutes in, something like that, into the cooking process. Next we're going to add some beans, and I chose a 3-bean salad in a can, so I had to drain that can and give the beans a rinse. So did that in the sieve, and then I'm just going to put them in the pan, just like this. And then a tin of chopped tomatoes straight in there once I've stirred that around a little bit. The pan of rice is getting to a good temperature there, so the temperature setting is going to get turned down any second. And I'll leave the chilli pan on a medium heat, and then cover. Depending on which tin tomatoes you buy, sometimes you might need to add water. Just use water from the kettle. Stir fairly regularly. So we're about 12 minutes into the cooking process here, maybe 15 minutes in, and I'm going to add the chilli powder. Now remember, chilli powder, it's an acquired taste. If you put too much in, you can't take it back out, and some of it's very hot. So my advice is to add a little bit. You can always add a bit more later. This is cumin powder. Not as critical with cumin powder. It doesn't. It's not known for being as hot, but it adds a nice flavour. So that then needs a good stir, and then the lid can go back on. We'll know when it's cooked when the root vegetables, the carrots and the sweet potatoes and the parsnips start to soften, and it'll be perfectly obvious as time goes by. The main thing now is just to keep giving it a stir every now and again, both the rice and the chilli, because we don't want anything to burn to the bottom of the pan. There we go, that's cooking nicely. Not quite there yet. So this is time flying by. We're a good sort of 20 minutes into the cooking process now, towards 25. So the rice is nearly ready. The chilli is pretty much ready. It's at this point where you'd pull a little bit out on a spoon and give it a taste, and adjust with a bit more chilli powder or salt and pepper if that's what you want to put in. Make it taste the way you want it to taste. The rice, just pull a little bit out, and if you put a little bit in your finger, if it's soft, it's ready to come off. When you take it off, just pour it through the sieve in the sink, drain it off, and serve it immediately. There you go. That's just with a bit of fat-free yogurt poured on top. You could serve it with a bit of coriander too, and it really is as simple as that.